All right, Xbox live stream. Here we go. Yes, Xbox now. We are rocking and rolling. Already some people hanging out in here waiting for us. That's the first time I've seen that happen, so that's pretty cool.
Wow.
That is pretty cool. I already see some likes, so that's good. Looks like
I just got the DM people asking, "Hey, are you still going live with Josh?" Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
technical difficulties. Okay, let's see. Make sure the preview is okay. I think we're looking good, but it says excellent connection, but then the video is just spinning. Okay, I think we're good.
It looks good on YouTube right now.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. It sounds like my dogs are doing WrestleMania right now, so that's good. There's probably going to be a vacuum cleaner or something destroyed in the in the making of this show. It's usually We'll let it looks like people are rolling in, so should we get this thing started? Start talking about some Halo? Man. I'm excited.
Let's do it, dude. You picked a great topic.
Yeah,
you know. So I'm ready to go.
Let's rock and roll.
I just shared it out and see if we can't get some more people in here.
Awesome. Perfect. All right, here we go. What is happening? It's the Xbox Now podcast. I'm your host, Josh Schmidt. I have a very special guest, Mav. That's at Fun Speculation on Twitter. Also the host of the Xbox Ultimate podcast. What's going on? How are you?
Doing awesome, dude. Thank you for asking me to be here. It's an absolute pleasure. I love what you've been doing with the channel. It's been here for, has it been a month yet? Like, I feel like it's almost approaching like a month or so.
It's 2 months old.
2 months? Oh, wow. Holy crap, dude. Time flies, man.
Yeah.
It's been 2 months, dude.
Well, wow, this show may only be a month. Like the podcast itself may only be a month. But yeah, I've been working at the website, xboxnow.tv, and the YouTube channel for right around 2 months. And it's been crazy. There's just meeting so many like awesome people like yourself, and the Xbox community is hungry for
we are
for everything, right? We're hungry for gaming content, we're hungry for exclusives, and we're hungry for Halo. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So let's start it off. Give me some of your history with the Halo series.
With the Halo series, okay. Well, Halo was the first Xbox game that I ever played. So Halo CE, I heard some of my cousins talking about it. I heard some of my friends talking about it. I didn't have an Xbox yet. My friends brought over an Xbox to my house. We played Halo. I was hooked. I had to get an Xbox. Got an Xbox. Then we started doing LAN parties where we all just started playing Halo, like 16 players with like 4 TVs and wires going all throughout the house back in the day. And I was at that age, I was like 18 years old, probably, I think, you know? So it was like just perfect. I didn't have anything else to do, you know, but play games. And we all hung out and played Halo. And then Halo 2 came out eventually, and that had Xbox Live to where I could actually play online. I didn't have to do all this trickery and voodoo to play with people. I was hooked on the story, hooked on playing with my friends, hooked on playing online, got really into it. And then I've been into Halo ever since. I'm a huge gaming fan. I love video games. And Halo is my favorite thing, period, in that world. So that's my love for Halo right there.
I love hearing that. I love hearing it. We talked about it on yesterday's show, how like I did not want to love Halo at first because I didn't want to leave the Nintendo ecosystem for this what is this Xbox, you know? And I have no regrets. I love it. I've always had such a great time. Once I finally just like let myself enjoy Halo. Really, I mean, it's just it has the same nostalgic pull for me as a Mario game does at this point. You know?
Oh yeah, it's like one of those classic Titan game series now that's like it's maybe one of the most talked about franchises, period, right? Like Mario gets talked about a lot, Zelda gets talked about a lot, Halo gets talked about a lot. It's also, because of that, it's also the most maybe scrutinized because of that same kind of stuff, right? But it's either you love Halo or you pretend not to like Halo, or you just hate Halo because so many people love Halo, right? It's like all of those worlds. But the people that really love Halo, they can love it for the campaign, you can love it for the multiplayer, or you can love it for both, right? It's got so much in it. The universe, the lore expands to multiple different things, you know. So it's my favorite thing, dude. It's got so many different things to enjoy with Halo.
And there's just it's a game that just builds memories, right? Like we look back on Halo and you think about iconic maps. Mm-hmm. Blood Gulch, right? I mean, if I say the words Blood Gulch or coagulation, like what immediately comes to mind? Like LAN parties and, you know, and then Halo 2, Xbox Live. Like I have vivid memories of like playing with the boys, right? And like I remember I had a couple family members. There was some cousins that played together. I had one on the back of the Warthog. The other one was at the base sniping, and I just happened to drive right where the guy was sniping. He sniped his cousin right off the back of my Warthog. He lost his mind. Like he was just screaming, right? And we all have those stories. Yeah. And after 3 and after Reach, we don't have as many of those stories anymore.
Yeah.
You know, those stories started to fade. And I want and hope that Infinite brings that back, right? That's really our main topic tonight is Halo Infinite. And one of the questions, you guys are seeing the footage here. Mav jumped in with me for the B-roll, and we played Halo 4 a couple times. We played some Halo 3 and then a little bit of Reach. And it was just, it was great getting back to these series. And we were chatting the whole time, just kind of talking about what was it that made these games so great, and what is it that Infinite is going to have to do. And so, kick us off here, Mav. What is it? And this can be, you know, for you personally, what does Infinite have to do to be great in your mind?
Yeah, man. I'm going to get into that in 1 second, but I'm not done with my love letter yet.
Oh, well then.
So my love letter to Halo has to be complete, because I have to mention one of my favorite things with a Halo franchise has been playing with my wife. And then when you were alluding to like the maps as well, right? Like how the maps are so distinguishable by the names and stuff, that goes into like the weapons. Like you say battle rifle, you know what it is. You say assault rifle, you know what it is. You say pistol, you know, like it's just needler, right? Plasma pistol. There's so many different like weapons. There's like the characters, like you say Spartan. There's so many distinguishable things that's synonymous with Halo, and that it takes a special franchise to create that. And I would say the weapons and maps are more famous than any other franchise out there, right? So moving on to Halo Infinite, that's what it needs, right? That's one of the things that we've been missing from is the new creations within Halo that are memorable, that you're going to stick in your head. I cannot, honestly, besides the remakes, I can't tell you the name of Halo 4 or Halo 5 maps without going and looking at them, right? It's strange.
I can
because
remember
Halo 1,
one.
2, 3, you can go through.
I can remember one map from Halo 4. It was my favorite map to play on to get the sniper.
Was it Ascension?
Valhalla.
Valhalla, yeah.
Right? It was like
good.
It was like the Blood Gulch of Halo 4. And you know, we're playing on the pit right now, which like but we're playing Halo 4. You know, Crawler in chat, he's saying noob combo, right? You said BR or battle rifle. If every time I hear battle royale or every time I hear it referred to as a BR, I don't think about a battle royale. I think of Halo every time. And so, but Ascension, that's like, what's that? One of the asymmetrical maps from Halo 2?
No, I think that one's the Halo 4 purplish looking outside map or something. I can't remember. Honestly, I just remember the name Ascension isn't one of them. That's the thing. It was like Halo 4. I know Ragnarok is one of those. It's like Halo 4's version of Coagulation, right? Blood Gulch. It's just like those get like, they're not like ingrained in my brain like the like Lockout, you know, like like all those other ones, right? And they need to. One of the things I struggled with at 343 is creating great original maps, right? They have good looking maps. But they're not memorable. I think they focus too much on the wrong things at times, like with aesthetics and looks and stuff, and not focusing as much on like the core gameplay. I think that maybe the Halo CE, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo 4, and or Halo Reach as well. But like also Halo 5 had a lot of Forge maps in the matchmaking, which I wasn't a fan of either. Right. So I mean, there's just like a core thing that I think they can do for the multiplayer. That's just one element, right? I think the multiplayer is going to be fine because you're going to have so many people diving in with free to play. You also have it's on PC and Xbox day one. It's going to be the most played Halo day one ever, right? So I think the multiplayer's got a really strong chance to live on, but where it needs to succeed even more than that is with the campaign, right? And if you really go back and look at where they failed with the campaign, it's been not with graphics. They've been fine with graphics, right? They really need to get the story and the focus back on fun of the characters you're fighting against, because the Prometheans aren't very fun to fight. Like, let's just be real, right? Like they're not chattering back and forth and not saying funny things, and like, cause you don't feel like you're really fighting something that's has emotion or like has a big tie to something bigger. Whereas if you're fighting the Covenant, you know, it's like, hey, this means something substantial. Like they say these funny things, comments and stuff. So I think the Banished is going to do great things for that dude. That's the number one thing I'm most excited about.
I think you're onto something there, honestly. Like the Prometheans were not all that enjoyable. Like no. It wasn't a real compelling enemy for Chief to deal with. And I mean, and Chief was second fiddle in Halo 5, you know? Like and I mean, I will play through every Halo campaign. Some of the story makes sense. Some of it's a little bit like, what is really happening? Mm-hmm. You know, like what is the Gravemind and why should he be in Little Shop of Horrors? You know, like what is going on here? But I want to go back a little bit and talk about with the multiplayer maps and the missteps that were with Halo 5. Halo 5 swayed so far into the direction of esports. And then I feel like Warzone was meant for like the weekend warriors, right? But yet it felt like something I didn't want. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it didn't. There was Big Team Battle that was still there, and that had some relatively fun maps. But what was totally lacking, and I've said this a lot when I talk about Halo, but what was really lacking in 5 were the asymmetrical maps. And chat confirmed Ascension was the Halo 2 map, and it's the one I always forget the name of. When you said it, I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
It's the sandy map that has the one base. Right? You're and it's where people originally would super jump, you know, like way up on the outer walls of the map. And some of the most fun was driving a warthog in for capture the flag and then driving back out. Zanzibar is another one. Like, you know how many like just great memories I have of again taking the bomb up to Zanzibar and planting it. Right? There's that line from Red versus Blue where he's like,
yeah,
I think it's a caboose. He's supposed to plant it on the X, and he's like, but it's a plus sign, right? Because he's not standing at it correctly, and like that, it was just that. That's what was missing. None of the maps are like, when I think of Halo 5, it seems like you play like a handful of maps, and also using Forge maps in multiplayer. I'm sorry, but it's just not it. It comes off a little bit lazy on the devs, you know, like,
yep.
And they brought on professional Halo players to, you know, consult, and the esports was a big deal for them. But I felt like it kind of split the community. It was like, either you're going to sweat with us in Slayer, or you're going to go play Warzone. And there wasn't that, like, there wasn't that mode for the weekend warriors, for the people that are like, no, I still want to do 4v4. I just don't want to sweat my face off all the time. I want to be able to do some assault and do some capture the flag. And Prophet in chat saying Halo 3 is still the best Halo. I remember buying Crackdown just to be able to play the beta. And, you know, remember, you started on the beach, working your way up. I can't remember the name of that map, but it was so great. Like, it was that
Zanzibar.
That was the map I wanted to, you know, that I remember when I think about Halo 3. Like, there's just so many. So
I think, I know the map you're talking about. I can't think of the name off the top of my head either. But Zanzibar was another one that you were at the beach,
right?
And then let's see, was it Headlong? Was that it?
Yeah, that was the other one in Halo 2, right? Where it was like, had this real long like Forerunner base, and you had to like work your way from the bottom of it up to the top to grab the flag and then jump back down to the beach. Like, just so many great maps. And with Halo 5, everything felt like it was built by the Prometheans, you know. It was just like, it was all shiny. Nothing was like, there wasn't,
they changed the aesthetic too much. It's like to try and make it shiny and like, oh, look at this, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it kind of lost the feel a little bit because of that. I remember the name of the map now. I don't remember. I looked it up because it was bothering me that I was getting Ascension mixed up with, and it's Abandon.
Oh,
Abandon.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Abandon is the purplish one, and that one's a good map. I actually like that map a lot. That's from Halo 4. But it's just like you got all these iconic maps from the first few ones and stuff that you just remember all these memories, right? And like I said, that doesn't exist with Halo 4 and Halo 5. Now, part of that could also just be because nobody played them as much, right? Potentially, like at some point, like after Halo Reach, I feel like Halo became like too popular for its own good, right? It's like it lost its cool card, you know? It's like, oh, you like Halo still? Oh, that's lame. Kind of like what Fortnite's going through now. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Fortnite was on top of the world, and now it's like a kid says they play Fortnite, and their friends are like, oh, you still play Fortnite? I'm playing Rogue Company. You know, that Fortnite sucks, you know? And it's like, Halo never sucked, right? Like, Halo's always been great. Even the worst Halo games are still really good games, right? And I think at some point, because of Call of Duty gained so much popularity, Battlefield was getting so popular, and all these games were taking things that they learned from Halo and implementing them in new, different ways and trying different things. And it became like, okay, you still playing Halo? That's like old, you know? And even though they didn't release like a game like every few years, it still felt like it was too constant for a lot of people. I think that tide, personally, I can kind of feel it. right? I can feel just like the mind shift in the back of the head of people, and the way they're starting to talk and the way they're starting to think about Halo. And it's like they're starting to realize, okay, Halo is a legitimate top tier classic franchise that we should embrace as opposed to hate on. And I think that's starting to turn a little bit, almost with Xbox, right? It's like following the same trajectory as Xbox. It's like getting that hype back. Halo Infinite has a lot on the line here. I think Xbox is going to be okay either way because they have so much amazing stuff going. But for the franchise, they have such big plans for this game over the course of the generation. And I think like it has a lot on the line, but it has to launch in a really good shape for people to not hate on it again, because it's just such an easy target, right? So that's the challenge. Like, how does Halo, a game that is hated on so easily, like as we saw like a week or two ago, right? So easily picked on for no reason sometimes. How is it going to launch and have a great, big, successful launch and being able to come the negativity that's gonna come from that? And I think it has to do so many things right that it has to outweigh those negatives that we're gonna hear, because it's gonna be there, 100%. There's gonna be noise.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and you have people like Nick Merckx already talking about if there's a Halo BR, that's where he's gonna be, right?
Yeah,
and here, I mean, a person like that will if he likes Halo and he plays Halo, that's gonna make the game, you know, like.
Yeah. When those guys start hating on it, that's when you start to have problems, right?
Yeah.
Because then it's like, oh, this is no longer cool, right? So
exactly.
The kids are really easily influenced with that. I'm past that myself. I just play like whatever games, and I don't really care about what people say about that. I like Second Extinction. I'm playing the crap out of that, right? A lot of people don't like it, you know, but it's fun to me, you know. And Halo, I am insanely excited for, because guess what? It's another Halo game. And that's all I need for myself to be excited and have hype for it, right?
And
so to
Chief
me, it's going to be a
like
success
Chief.
either way.
He looks like Chief again, right? He's not like roided out Chief. Like, how does his armor always evolve? What is up with that? You know?
Dude, they nailed the aesthetic on the Chief armor, man. Like when I saw that for the first time in that trailer with the pilot, when he like wiped the windshield of the Pelican in space, and he sees Chief sitting there, and then they go on to the trailer and they have him like on the like pedestal thing, whatever, hooked up, and it's like him in all his glory. It's like, oh my gosh, dude, they nailed it. Like, it's like Halo 1, Halo 2 vibes again, just looking at this game, but it looks so new and feels great. And even when I went back and watched the gameplay demo, which a lot of people hated on because it was missing engine features that for lighting and all these different things that made it not look as great as it could have, like just the way the game looked in motion, the way the aesthetic, the way the guns sounded, like the way that the banished to the enemies, or I don't know if that was banished elites or a Covenant elite or whatever we saw running around there, the brutes. It was just like, oh my gosh, dude, they got this right. You know, for me, they got it right, and that's was so exciting to see. I wasn't seeing like the Halo 5 glossy, shiny everything everywhere and shooting Prometheans, right? This had me pumped. And then we saw the fallout of the graphics, right? And so it's just like, it's like when I get excited, a negative train follows for some reason with Halo. But I don't know. How did you feel about the gameplay demo? Like, as far as your take?
You know, I had a smile on my face the entire time I watched it. Like,
yeah,
I'm always I always look for the good. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like,
yeah,
I wasn't focused in on like every blade of grass, you know, and Craig's face.
So you didn't take a screenshot of a brute's face that was like in motion, that was like not actually even zoomed in game and like zoom in on that and then pick it apart? Like that's not what you do when you watch these things. I'm just asking, because some people do that.
I was honestly blown away. I was like, this is giving me the same feeling when we first left the Pillar of Autumn and hit the Halo ring the first time. But it's on a whole new scale because of the power of the modern systems, right? Like, I understand the lighting could be better. But I mean, that's not what I was like. Okay. I've been playing the Switch for the last 4 years. So I played through Doom 2016 on the Switch. So what do you think that Halo presentation looked like to me? I was like, and then I hear the internet just like crapping all over it. And I was just like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a thing that the internet does, social media does, where you ignore all the positive, right? There was so much positive there, like the gameplay. Okay, let's talk about that. The gameplay was amazing, right? It looked like so fluid and smooth, and like the weapons look great. Like there's so many positive things. Okay, the enemies, like the animation, like the character, the personality, like it's just like feels like Halo is back. The open environment, right? The scalability, verticality, the grapple shot. There was the new weapons that they revealed. The light from the Warthog, shining. Like there's just so many amazing things to take away. But what everybody focused on instead was the negative thing that they can point to is that there's some pop in. And the Brute's face is not has the highest res textures when it's as off screen. Like, I don't know. That's still something that gets me. Like, because you could do that almost in any game today,
absolutely,
and have the same result. When you take a NPC character, like random cannon fodder type enemy, and just stop the screen. And then take that little portion of the screen and then you zoom in on that, not in game, but on a frozen screenshot. It's always going to look bad, right? Just like they were doing when those screenshots came out recently, that looked amazing. They're zooming in on the blades of grass on a screenshot. It's just you can't. That's not how it works. It's not how game design works, right? So. What did 343 do? Like they're like, hey, we could do better with this. We know that it's missing this, the pop in. We miss the lighting. We're glad that everybody liked the aesthetic, which is what they're trying to show. Should they not have shown it in its state? Probably not, because they should have known that it was going to be picked apart, right? But they did, and here we are. They delayed it a year. And we're going to get a better game for that. So I'm excited about that. But I was bummed that it got delayed originally, right? But man, with a whole year extra to polish that up, get all those engine features that Eric Lynn said were missing at the time, right? And those are in the game now. It has me pumped for what we're going to get to play. And I think they're going to wow us at E3, personally.
I do too. I mean, last year I got to tour, or the year like 2019, I got to tour 343. I sat and played the Halo arcade game, played through it with a couple of the employees, and everybody there is just so like the people that are working on this game. They love Halo, right? Like this isn't a cash grab for the team that's working on it. Like this is their blood, sweat, and tears. Like they love this series, and you sit and you talk with them about it, and it's like you can just see it. You can see it. And so I recently jumped into Halo 5 to the campaign to start working on more of the achievements, right? And and one of the things that I didn't realize how much I really, really like is the fact that each bullet gives you a hit marker, right? Like each shot gives you a hit marker. And we're playing Halo 3 in this next little bit of gameplay here. You never know when you're hitting somebody other than like, you're lined up for the headshot when that little red dot shows up. Yeah. But other than that, there's really not much of an indicator that you're hitting anything. And I going back and playing Halo 5 and then watching that demo, like there are so many things that I'm really looking forward to with this game. I will say this: I wish the Halo games would move the radar to the upper left-hand side instead of the lower left-hand side. Because
I don't know, man, that would mess with me too much now at this point. Like I would be looking down there at the wrong corner. I just played too much Halo. Maybe. I know what you mean though. Right?
I had been playing too much Destiny. And that's where I'm like, it's just like, I feel like I'm still looking at the whole screen and can see the radar versus like focusing on that lower corner. But
how about an option to place it where you want, in whichever corner?
That would be great. I would love that. That would be.
You would think that'd be an easy thing for them to implement, right?
Possibly, yeah. So we've talked a little bit about like the multiplayer. We've talked a little bit about like the campaign. What are some things that are really going to have to happen to make this stand out? Like, what do you think? I mean, okay, let's look at Call of Duty. The evolution of Call of Duty has basically been this: a campaign, multiplayer, and now Warzone, right? So they added a BR. Halo's kind of been teasing a BR, but they've also said no, it's not happening. But I mean, we know how games, how the PR is. Like they're never going to admit.
343 isn't working on it. 343 said they're not working on it. We know Coalition's been helping with Halo Infinite. We also know that other studios that like Xbox has this huge stable, right? Who knows who could potentially come in to do a BR game based on Halo. So
I can tell you what I hope it isn't. And I just saw news recently that Microsoft is teaming up with the company that has been doing Call of Duty Mobile.
Oh yeah.
And that's a good thing. I like Call of Duty Mobile. I have the backbone. I play it on my phone. If we get a Halo mobile game that's not Spartan Assault, that's like an actual first-person shooter, like I'm down with it. But it just can't be the only. Like, please, for the love of everything precious and holy.
Oh yeah, they would have like. Yeah, they would have people march on 343's like headquarters if that happened, dude. I mean, they just like, there's too many hardcore Halo fans. If they took like the arena shooter out of it and they just BR'd it, that would be like, everybody would just be done. Xbox would get so much hate for that. That would be like a crazy move. Now, I think it's going to live on as something kind of like what Call of Duty does, is like something else, right? And I think it's a good move if they do. Like, I would enjoy playing it for sure. Right, I like BR games. I play Apex Legends. I play. I have played quite a bit of Warzone, although I uninstalled it recently because it's been acting so funky. Right. There's a lot of decent like BR games out there. I played a lot of Fortnite with my wife and stuff. It's Halo could do it. Like I would say, take the ODST. Have them drop in. That would be the way you drop in, as an ODST. Right?
I love this. Keep going. You have my attention.
You pick your landing zone. You go. Maybe you have a squad of 4. Right? You got NPCs as a Covenant or Banished walking around where you get to fight, and then you got other squads of Spartans and maybe even Covenant out there as well that are teaming up, and y'all have one objective, and somehow things close in on you. I don't know how they'd work that out, but. It would be something that I would find easy to implement, because what Halo's already known for weapon pickups, right? Stuff like that. So there's some stuff that's they wouldn't have to think too hard on how to implement. You could also have armor upgrades that you could pick up throughout the match and stuff. It just seems like a good fit, but it does need to be entirely separate. I don't even want the same team working on it, because I feel like in order for Halo to have that sustained success, like we were talking earlier, they need to do what they've been doing with Master Chief Collection, keep the updates coming, keep the seasonal stuff coming, keep all those things coming to keep people engaged with the core traditional multiplayer of Halo. And then you'll have your Halo BR audience as well, potentially, if they go that route. But I think it needs to live like Call of Duty, where there's 2 different worlds, and I think one can bring popularity to the other. right?
I completely agree. I mean, and that's kind of, you've got what, like, is it Infinity Ward or Sledgehammer or whatever? They've been working on Warzone, and then Treyarch just did Black Ops, and that game probably should have been delayed from what I'm hearing. I've had a good time with Black Ops, but I love just jumping into the old school like team deathmatch and just going for it. Like that's been, I like that more than I like jumping into Warzone and waiting for the loading and then dying off the rip or something, and then you have to go through and so I mean I really like that. Like, let 343 work on the campaign, the multiplayer side of things, and then have another team working on a BR of some kind. And what I want to see is how they can get, like you were mentioning, like we all drop in as ODST. Do you find Spartan armor along the way? Well,
maybe you could like find a facility where you could take the super soldier thing and become like a Spartan or some Spartan 4 or 5 or whatever. I can't remember all the lore, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of things you could do, but I think part of it is the ODSTs are a little bit more grounded and human, right? Like Halo 3 ODST. If you had the BR kind of have that vibe of like Halo 3 ODST, like, oh my gosh, my mind can go so many places because you could bring in the flood as well, right?
Right.
Well, it could be a blast, man.
Maybe it's just aesthetics, right? Maybe it's not necessarily, or maybe it's 2 modes. Maybe once you hit a certain level, you can then jump into Spartan BR.
Yeah.
And then ODST
That's true.
BR, like where you can basically jump higher. There wouldn't be too many differences, right? Like it would just mainly be the probably the movement speed and how high you could jump. But well, and depending on how they do things with, like in Halo 5 where you could slide and you could that movement with, I had it mapped to B anyway. I think that was the default, where you could just like boost out of the way. That is my favorite mechanic in first person shooters. Like, I absolutely love that, where you can just boost out of the way and get right back, like get out of cover, like get into cover if you need to. Like, I really like that. So
yeah, that's one of the abilities in 4, right? I really like that too.
Yeah.
So here's another thought though, right? Like, what if they just invented something new? Like, took Battle Royale, spun it on its head as something that we can't even comprehend right now, because like they're just creating something original. They created lots of different things. Now, Firefight was based on Horde mode, right, from Gears, right? But it's completely unique to itself. They created matchmaking online with Halo 2. They've been on the forefront of so many different things, you know what I mean, to usher in new things. And I don't know, maybe it's not Halo style to piggyback off of something else. Maybe it would be better if they tried it with Warzone. It didn't really click, but maybe they could expand on that. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, man, because like I don't. They need to expand it in some way to draw in that other crowd, right? I just don't know how they'll do it.
I know exactly what you're saying, right? We may not be able to like hit the nail on the head for exactly what it is that we hope they do, but I think we're both on the same page that we want something like they've talked about the 10-year plan, right? I want a reason to keep jumping into this multiplayer, right? Season passes are great for leveling up. They're a great monetization strategy for the companies that are building the games. But I want Halos to be unique, and I want it to be something that like that we want to keep. Like, Warzone has its season pass. I could have cared less if I finished it. And the only reason I bought it again is because I had the coins from earning it during. If I don't play enough to earn enough, I won't buy another Warzone season pass. There's nothing that appealing about them. There's just it's not there. Whereas and Fortnite is also hit or miss, but it's funny you say you play Fortnite with your wife. My wife and I do the same, and we've barely touched this season's pass. And I realized I got charged again for being part of their like monthly crew or whatever. I'm like, I gotta get out of this. Like, I don't need this in my life, you know. So, but I do really want to see like what is going to be that thing that's going to keep us coming back to Halo over and over again. With still having the options of jumping in, doing the campaign, having fun there, jumping into multiplayer that can be competitive. Like for me, it's got to be that. It's got to be the campaign. It's got to be multiplayer that you can sweat your face off. It's also got to be the multiplayer that's like just for the weekend warriors and those asymmetrical maps and having vehicles and stuff. We just didn't drive around in vehicles enough in Halo 5. If it was 4v4, there were no vehicles. They didn't exist, and that's a huge thing to take out of Halo. But in that sway to keep things, to keep things like on the esports side of things, it went away, and it really needs.
It's so funny with the esports thing, dude, because Halo's like trying to get into esports almost, but it's like they're the ones that started esports almost, right? Like it's weird because, you know, what they were doing with the arena regular style multiplayer that they had became really popular with esports. And it kind of, you know, was one of the main first shooters to really become popular with esports. And then it became less popular as they've done some of these other things. Right. So like just get back to who they were originally is all they got to do with the map design. And that's where the esports has fallen off, I think, because like one thing, Halo is very skill based, right? And it always has been a very skill based shooter. So that automatically lends well to esports, right? More than Call of Duty or more than any of these other franchises. It already lends well to that. So what you need to go along with that is the good maps. You know, like the stuff they did with the Halo 5 with that other mode, like with the, you fly in off the launchers. I can't even remember. It's just it's not, you don't need this gimmicky mode to be an esports game. You could just be Halo.
Well, right? And here's the thing is this is what's crazy, because that particular mode, I played with Cosmo, the community manager at Bungie. Right. Yeah. And like we had lag and he was like, oh, all we need is dedicated servers. Right. Because that's everybody would always complain. But I only played that mode a few times and it was with him. But that mode it was 3v3, right? If I remember correctly.
I think it's 4v4.
Was it? I think it's 4v4. But it was meant to be like real fast, like almost like paintball style rounds, right? Mm-hmm. And then you look at Destiny and they come out with Trials of Osiris. And it was 3v3. You had one life per round. You were playing it like Gears of War or CS. I believe I've never played like CS:GO or anything, but from my understanding, it plays similar, right? And now Apex has this arena mode. I am a huge fan of that, but that mode in Halo 5, for some reason it just didn't. It didn't click. It didn't click. It didn't click. Yeah. I wish it had. And I hope we continue to see. That's one of the things that Call of Duty has continued to evolve, like, their hardcore modes and search and destroy and gunfight or whatever they call it now, right? Like they've continued to make these cool modes, and I really hope we see something like that within Infinite, so that it just adds to the, like, here's the crew that I sweat with when we play those kind of modes, and here's the crew that I'm playing big team battle with, or we're just doing the social playlist and having a good time there. And then what's the BR look like if it is there? How many is it? You gonna have up to 4 players on a team? Is it gonna be more than that? What do we see? How do they innovate? That's really the question. And I'm just very excited. I'm very excited because it even if it doesn't, 343 has shown us that even when they make a mistake, the Master Chief Collection,
Yeah.
they
they can fix it.
they don't give up, right?
Yeah.
They don't. They just keep going. And look at Master Chief Collection now. It's like it's still a
Amazing.
game I try to play. I try to play at least once a week. Like
Yeah.
I love jumping in and getting some Halo games. It's usually Reach,
man.
which is the one that they're if we make it that far in the B-roll, it's like, oh, the bloom on the DMR gets me every time, you know.
But it's crazy. Is Halo Reach wasn't even originally part of Master Chief Collection,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, they just
Halo
made it
3
the full
ODST
package.
wasn't original. Yeah, you get everything now. Besides 5, they could throw 5 in there. Hopefully, eventually. I don't know if they will because it's so different, right? So one thing about 5 is that kind of throws me off sometimes is how different it is from the other ones with the controls and everything. But I think they got a lot going for them right now in the right direction. Maybe release expanded story content over that 10-year plan as well. You know, you could have some either call them expansions or DLC story stuff. Maybe kind of like Hivebusters for Gears, right? Like kind of like something like they did. You could explore so many different things with this universe. The game's going to live in Game Pass. People that are subscribed to Game Pass are always going to have access to this, right? So it has so much more going for it than when Halo 4 launched and when Halo 5 launched. Like Halo 5 launched at a time when everybody was so down on Xbox, right? And it was easy to just forget about it quickly for a lot of people, right? Not the Halo fans that loved it and wanted to play and really experience this. And then we had our takeaways like, hey, the story could have been better. This could have been better. That could have been better, right? And then that's us being, picky Halo fans wanting better from the franchise that we love, right? But it's not hating on it just to hate on it, right? Which a lot of people do. And I think that part is going to shift. Right, it was always going to be us who are going to nitpick everything, right? They're like, hey, I like if you could do this better, that better, right? But I think it's got so much going for it with the vibe of kind of energy and the hype that is coming out for that game right now, and that's the riding with Xbox like uphill, And I think when they launch, it's going to launch on so many platforms, be so available for so many people day one. It's going to be the biggest launch ever for Halo, and I think it's going to usher in a new audience, kids that didn't know who Master Chief was, didn't know the story.
The guy from
get
Fortnite
enamored with it. Yep. Yeah, exactly. And my daughter wanted to play the Tomb Raider games because Lara Croft got put in Fortnite.
Yeah.
Right. The same thing. Like they're gonna learn who this is, and then they're gonna go back and play the Master Chief Collection. Right? That's one of the amazing things about Game Pass too, right? It's just such an easy access point. Nobody has an excuse not to at least try it if everybody's telling them to. So,
and
ultimately, I think it's going to be fine.
You know how much fun it was for me to gift the Master Chief skin to both my boys who are 18 and 20? Because
that's awesome.
like when they opened that game up and they saw it was there, they were just so stoked because that Master Chief for my kids is what Mario is to me, right? Like right. I was a terrible father and I let my son play Halo at the age of 2. Like he was
nice.
He was beating some of my friends. Like he pistoled one of my buddies out of a tank. He just put his controller down and left my house. Like he didn't even say anything. He just left. And for Halo 2, like the rings that you make at Christmas time out of construction paper, like he tore one off each day as we counted down to the release of Halo 2. And I can remember that morning that, I had been playing till like 2 or 3 a.m. working my way through the campaign. And he woke up and immediately was just like, let me at it, and we sat and played the multiplayer for a while, and he loved it. I remember there was times when they were so young, they couldn't even really shoot or anything. I would just put them in tanks, and I would drive around in a Warthog in Halo 1 and turn on like infinite shields, and they would just shoot my Warthog and it would flip all over the place, and they would just laugh
nice.
and laugh and laugh. And so it's going to be a game that's going to bring it's going to bring them back, you know. And I think there's a lot of a lot of kids that grew up with the Halo franchise, and even Halo 3 being maybe their first Halo and stuff. And I have a feeling it's gonna that nostalgia pull is gonna be there. And you were right on strong with what you said. Like, the narrative for Xbox over the last 7 years was there was like nothing positive. There was nothing positive. It, like, they banked on Halo being the first person shooter, Halo 5 being the first person shooter it used to be, and it wasn't. It didn't. Yep. They let Call of Duty go, right? And PlayStation took the exclusive stuff. PlayStation took the exclusive stuff with Bungie and Destiny. And, you know, Xbox was banking on Halo and Gears for their shooters. And
also Xbox was more expensive and less powerful than the PS4 at launch. Mm-hmm. Because they forced the Kinect to be included. Right. So they had so much against it, man. You know, it's just
and crazy. it's a different time now. So, Mav, this has been great. Thank you so much for hanging out. Can you tell everybody where they can find you?
Hey guys, thank you again, Josh, for having me here. Talking Halo, dude, it's a blast, man. Gotta have you on Xbox Ultimate Podcast sometime, dude. If you'd like to join us, man.
Absolutely.
But hey, guys, speaking of Xbox Ultimate Podcast, that's one of the places you can find me. That is on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, and that is on the YouTube channel Fun Speculation, where we also have another podcast called Fun Pop, which is on Thursdays at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, where we talk about movies, TV shows, and all kinds of stuff, Marvel, DC. It's a blast. I stream quite a bit on the channel as well, so come over there and hang out with me and while I play games. That's, again, on Fun Speculation on YouTube. And then you can also find me on Twitter at Fun Speculation as well, guys. So it's been a pleasure, dude. Let's do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we could do a show where we just go through and look at each, like, we'll pull the Master Chief Collection up, and we'll just jump into maps, and then we'll just
talk about Halo.
We'll just talk about the fun stories that we like. We'll get a handful of people, do like a roundtable discussion. You know, somebody mentioned early on in the chat, like Snowbound. And like that map was bonkers in Halo 3. Like, it was just,
it was great.
It was bonkers. And so it would be a lot of fun just to kind of, maybe we can cherry pick a few or whatever and just kind of go through and talk about it. I think it'd be a great time. So guys, you can find me everywhere at N64 Josh, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye now.
Bye guys.